Hey guys, welcome to this week's episode. Some of you might recognize the character that's sitting in front of the camera right now. For those of you that don't, take it away, introduce yourself, who you are, what you get up to, and why you're here today.
Well, my name's Pani Pastou. I currently live in England and I race time attack both in Cyprus and in England. And I am here today to test the Mitsubishi Evo, to take it forward to see what we're going to do for the next season and year to come, and hopefully it will be ready for the European Time Attack Championship sometime soon.
So before we get into that, Pani, give us a brief rundown of your racing history, as I know you were involved in karts as well a little bit.
Yeah, karting was obviously something that I done from a young age. I was involved in karting and in racing, and obviously we didn't have the funds back then to be able to obviously take it to the next level. So I took some time out of racing and karting, and then obviously when we did get the funds together, and we decided to join the Time Attack series and try and win the Cyprus Championship in 2014. So that's when it first began back into racing.
So that's when it got serious. So tell us a little bit about the car, where it started from, where we've got to, why an Evo and why Time Attack?
Well, it started, obviously the car itself, some might recognise, it started life in Japan as the Varis Cyber Evo that we then purchased and imported into Cyprus. We then begun, we had that as a base, and then we started from there, obviously evolving the car to where it is today. Obviously today it's not recognisable really as an Evo, as a Varis Evo, but that's where it actually begun in 2014, if I'm not mistaken.
Somewhere about there from what I remember. Any specific reason you chose the Evo platform?
No, I mean, obviously I don't know how many of you are aware of LC Racing, but they do predominantly tune and specialise with Mitsubishi Evolutions, and they had some fast cars to begin with. So when we were looking at the what car to start and what car to start off with, a lot of the cars at the time were Mitsubishi Evos. I don't know if you, obviously people that do follow the sport know that the SVA Evo was one of them, and the I've forgotten the name now, but the World Time Attack champion at the time,
Sierra
was an Evo, and you know, people did tend to use the Mitsubishi Evolution, so we thought that would be a good base for us to start with. So that's why we imported. We were lucky that this came available when we managed to import it.
So, as far as you're concerned, and as far as the car's concerned, it's gone through quite a different journey from the days when it was in Japan and the level that it was built to back then, to the rebuild that you've put it through in, I'd say, what, the last 4 years?
So when the car came from Japan, obviously it was built to Japanese specification and regulations that some of them didn't even meet, you know, the criteria of the Cyprus Championship. So we begun there by changing some minor parts on the car, and we started there. So once it was here, then it evolved from here to obviously what it is today, which is totally different. Basically, it's actually a different car, you know, apart from the shell and a few bits of the aero, the car's totally different.
Am I right in remembering that you won the Time Attack Championship on the unopened and unknown factor that was known as the engine that was still in it from Japan?
Yeah, what we did is when we imported it, obviously we checked the engine and the engine was fine. It wasn't running major horsepower, but it was enough for the Alcon track and Alcon Speedway, because it is a small track. So what we did was we predominantly concentrated on other things. For instance, it had a normal gearbox. We upgraded to a sequential, the exhaust system, etc., initially, and left the engine as it was. And the engine itself, actually, we used for a lot of the British Time Attack Championship a few years later as well. So the engine did last very, very well for us, and it was a very good engine.
That's fantastic. A bit of insight into the meticulousness of Japanese engine building there.
Oh, 100%.
So Pani, tell us what's next for you and the car. What have you set your targets on specifically?
Well, targets, I mean, let's see what happens, but obviously we won 2014 in Cyprus. We then won in 2016 in the UK. So the next, obviously, step for me was I did want to compete in a European Time Attack Championship or a European finals or whatever, to see what we can do against Europe. So what we're aiming for at the moment is to get the car good enough to be able to compete next year in a European event. So that's the target and the goal. Obviously, we're going to try and achieve that in whatever way possible, really.
Fantastic. All right, thank you for that rundown as far as what you've got in mind, and what you're planning on doing with the guys in the car. Let's take it to a slightly different field now and say, as far as time attack is concerned, I mean, you've given us a history as to how you got involved in it. For somebody that wants to get started, what do you suggest?
Well, I mean, it is a very good, series to be in, and it is something that's up and coming, and a lot of people are continuing to sort of, join the time attack, sort of family as it is. Turn up in your own race car, race on the track, and then drive it home. And it can be as expensive or as cheap as you like, and that's what some people like about this kind of championship. You don't need a stripped out car. You don't need pretty much anything. All you're going to ruin is a set of tyres and some brakes. Obviously, as long as you don't come off and crash the car. So people can theoretically drive to the track, and they have done, and drive the car back home in one of the championships. So pro street or whatever event they want to enter, and you can enter single events, which is really good.
Perfect. Thanks for that insight, Pani. I'm going to wrap it up with one question. You're a consummate petrol head. You love cars. You live and breathe cars. Even though we know that you've got an SVJ in the garage, what would be your ultimate dream car, or even an ultimate dream garage of a couple of cars?
Oh, yeah. Well, depends on the funds. I mean, the ultimate dream with no budget, I guess. I do like the LaFerraris. That would be one to have, and maybe not many people like the Chirons, but the Bugatti Chirons, but I'm a fan of them as well. So obviously, if you've got two of them in the garage, you're doing well. So that would be the aim. Yeah.
Not doing too badly at all.
Yeah.
Pani, thank you very much for your time this week. We wish you all of the best for all of your upcoming race endeavours, and we hope to catch up with you again sometime soon, hopefully in the UK next time we're over.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.